Greetings, everyone. I'm the modern Marxist, but feel free to call me Mark. Today, we're tackling a controversial topic, China. In particular, we are going to look into China's Belt and Road Initiative, which centers on building infrastructure in foreign countries. Too often, when people, particularly in the West, talk about the Belt and Road, it's always fear-mongering about China's growing influence around the world and what that might mean. However, here at the Modern Marxist, we are materialists. We look past hearsay and speculation to engage with the facts. So we aren't going to talk about what the Belt and Road might do, or even its possible geopolitical impacts. Today, we are solely going to talk about what the Belt and Road has already done. Let's look at its accomplishments together, and then you can decide for yourself what to think about it, rather than letting a stuffy British guy tell you what to think about a place he's never been. Enough introduction ranting, let's get into the informational ranting. Let's get the big one out of the way first, poverty alleviation. This is what really matters. Are people's lives being improved by the Belt and Road? Alright, here comes some tough pronunciations. According to Marla Malisweska, a senior economist with the World Bank, and Dominique van der Mensbroek, God, French, research professor and director of the Center for Global Trade Analysis at Purdue University, Belt and Road related investments will lift 8.7 million people from extreme poverty and 34 million from moderate poverty by 2030. This is coming from Western economists in the World Bank, and even they have to admit that the Belt and Road is effective. Of course, in their article, they complain about how this will negatively impact countries not involved with the Belt and Road, mostly America, but that's not what we care about right now. The US can afford to build its own infrastructure, it just chooses not to so it can have more boats. Let's look at some specifics, and we'll start with Africa. In 2020 alone, China invested $23 billion into African infrastructure, making China the largest investor in Africa. These investments have included major roads and bridges all over the continent, such as the Churchill Ring Expressway in Algeria and the Maputo-Katembe Bridge in Mozambique. While transportation infrastructure such as roads, railways, and seaports have been the focus of China's investment in Africa, other sectors have not gotten ignored. The Belt and Road has invested millions into hospitals, schools, sanitation, water filtration, and various green energy power supplies, such as solar and hydroelectric. As a Kenyan politician once said, "When China visits, we get a hospital. When Western countries visit, we get a lecture." These investments have happened in nearly every country in Africa, with 52 African nations signing agreements with China concerning the Belt and Road. Compare that to American economic investment, which is given solely to nations that the US deems as allies. We should also address the common misunderstanding that China's investments are predatory and some sort of debt trap. These accusations usually come from liberals in the West who haven't actually looked into it at all. Only about 20% of Africa's total foreign debt is owed to China, with most of the rest being owed to the EU and the US. China also regularly forgives debt to African countries, which Western media likes to try and paint as the Belt and Road's failing. In classic liberal doublethink, the Belt and Road is simultaneously a massive debt trap and falling apart completely due to forgiving too much debt. Africa isn't the only place to benefit from the Belt and Road, though, as many countries closer to China have joined the initiative as well. Major high-speed railways have been built across Asia, with some of the biggest being in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Laos. Smaller countries are not forgotten by China. The small multi-island nation of the Maldives has had multiple major projects linked to the Belt and Road, including a major bridge, an international airport, and an entire artificial island, which is being used to meet the growing need for housing on the archipelago. These are only a few of hundreds of major projects tied to the Belt and Road Initiative, developments that are making a profound impact in poverty reduction across the world. According to Western media, China is an evil regime trying to conquer the world through debt traps and exploitation. However, when you strip back the Western filter and look purely at the facts, it's clear that China's investments are helping poorer nations modernize and provide for their people. You are free to formulate your own opinion on China. It took me time to sort out my own views on China, as it's not the simple black and white issue it's often painted as. All I ask is that you take the time to consider both sides and look at the facts. This has been The Modern Marxist. Thank you for watching.